Rappers and music producers, let me ask you a question. How fearful are you? I'm about to say how scared, but how fearful are you of failure? I can tell you that in the very beginning stages of my career, failure to me was to have an outcome in mind and to not achieve it. I associated failure with being an event, something that was irreversible. It was something I couldn't go back to because it hurt too much. The pain of it was too much. However, there have been many things that I have read over the years, and even my own stubbornness. I remember back in the day when I was living in Carson, and there was these neighborhood kids that made this ramp on my street. I used to live on a street called Hilford. There was this ramp that they made, and all the kids would ride their bikes down this hill that we had on our street. And they made this little makeshift ramp. And there's kids that were jumping off this ramp and they were getting all kind of air. And for some reason, I would go on this ramp and I would just crush the whole ramp. And they were like, oh man, Dewan can't do it, man. Don't let him get him back. He gonna ruin the whole thing, man. We having so much fun. And I think the feeling of hearing them basically express discontent with my failure made me feel like, no, I gotta prove you guys wrong. Failure is not an event, it is a result. What other people saw as tenacity within me, other people saw an unrelentless energy that was in me. I didn't see it. I just thought that if you want to get to where you want to get to, like, my father always taught me, you don't half-ass it. I came across some of the literature of Tony Robbins and a book that I'm going to mention today from John C. Maxwell called Failing Forward. Tony always talks about that we give our failures way too much credit. We look at failures as this catastrophic situation that really determines everything for us in our future, and it's not that. Failure is literally another result. It's not a destination, it's a result. Many times when we think that we have failed because we don't match up with the result that we had in our mind, we keep in our mind that we have actually failed, but in all actuality, we just succeeded at another goal that we didn't have in mind. The person that's trying to lose 40 pounds but gains 40, that person did not fail, they got another result. Wrapping my mind around that in the beginning was a little bit difficult because I always felt like failure was just one of the worst words to describe something that happens. But there's a few things that I want to share with you. First of all, there's two different passages I want to share with you that I think you're going to find a lot of value in. These characteristics of people who fail backward and fail forward. Those who fail forward are obviously people who find success no matter how many circumstances push them and drop them on the ground. They get back up, dust themselves off, and keep going. People who fail backwards are the ones who have to continue to repeat the same lessons over and over and over again. The person that is failing backward blames others. The one that is failing forward takes responsibility. The person that is failing backward repeats the same mistakes, right? The one that is failing forward learns from each mistake. The person failing backward expects never to fail again. The person failing forward knows that failure is part of the progress. The person that's failing backward expects to continually fail. The person that's failing forward maintains a positive attitude. Next characteristics of somebody who is failing backward: being limited by past mistakes. The one that is failing forward is taking new risk. The person that is failing backward thinks, I am a failure. These are, according to John C. Maxwell, the undeniable steps that you are going to have to endure towards success. Look, just because you fail, it does not make you a failure. And I think that the quicker we wrap our mind around this, there's certain people that I have met that when they have a situation that can be viewed as a failure, they move so fast that you don't even remember their last loss. Their energy stays vibrant. They go from failure to failure, never losing energy. Les Brown speaks about this. That is courage. Here are the steps towards success according to John C. Maxwell's book, Failing Forward. The first step towards success: the individual is afraid of being a fool. How dare you, Curtis King, think that you can make beats off of a PlayStation and one day make a living at this garbage? How dare you, Curtis King, that never lived a day in your life, within the streets, live the quote unquote hip hop upbringing? How dare you not live this and think that you can be a part of this hip hop culture and contribute to it. How dare you? Who are you to even think that you can? The audacity. I'm sure that at some point in time, somebody told President Obama the same thing. How dare you? He probably was afraid of his own thoughts before that. A black president? Really? And it sounds so ridiculous now, but at that time, I'm sure that was something that probably actually was a goal that scared him. The next step, this individual that is going towards success, the next step is they are afraid of looking like a fool. So you're afraid of being a fool, but then you feel like you're looking like a fool to the people who maybe that you think that love you, or the people that mean the most to you. They're like, I don't know how you gonna make this work. What you mean you wanna be a DJ? What you mean you, come on, dog. Like nobody from our city ever makes it out like that. Who do you think you are? For those of you who are just getting into podcasting, you look like a fool going to Guitar Center and picking up the microphones and as you're putting it together and you're putting it on your Insta story or your Snapchat and you're showing people, hey, I'm getting it started. I'm pretty sure that to some people you're gonna look like a fool. What are you gonna talk about? Who are you to even talk about anything? The next step, you're gonna actually be a fool. You're gonna make some bozo mistakes. You know, when I was getting my Quiznos checks, I was bumming my whole check on nothing but music equipment. And in the process, my car note was falling behind. In the process, I ended up even losing that car because of how stupid I was financially. But you're going to be a fool. This is an inevitable step towards success. The next one, you become a successful entrepreneur. Because here's what's gonna happen, and this book teaches you this, that step from fool to successful entrepreneur, people are gonna look at you and say, well, you know what? They may look like a fool, but they work hard. He's a hard worker. That's all I can say. They used to say that about Curtis King. They say, man, that boy's a hard worker. Because of that hard work, you become a successful entrepreneur. People see you as a hard worker. But then the next step, the actual step that pushes you up to another level, and mind you, these steps can take years, my friends. But the next step is just genius. People see you as a genius. Think about the example of Kanye West, right? I'm pretty sure he was afraid of being a fool for being a producer who wanted to rap. He probably looked like a fool to the rappers he was providing beats for that were like, bro, my producer's trying to rap. What the hell? And then there's been many times that we know Kanye, I love Kanye, but he's like a fool in many situations. Then he became a successful entrepreneur. You know, he probably looked like a fool to a lot of people when he was dissing Michael Jordan and Jordans and talking about jumping over the Jumpman. But then he pulled off that deal with Adidas. And maybe Kanye is not at that point where people are seeing the cultural icon that he is, the genius that he is quite yet. Sometimes it takes people, it takes you sort of being removed from a field long enough before they realize how much of a genius you actually were. And so when you see that, you start to realize the impact of an individual who has the audacity to live their truth. This is what I want to encourage rappers and producers to do out here. You cannot be afraid of failure. You got to stop treating failure as if this is not a requirement to get to where you ultimately want to get. This is part of the process.